Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday, another week. I'm gonna just pass it right over to Kristen. Kristen is leading us tonight. I'm excited to hear what she has to share with us. I love that we just get a chance here to kind of grow together and pour into each other. And there's gonna be just different seasons where different leaders are stepping into their own, and I've definitely seen that lately with Kristen. I was telling her earlier today, I was like, I literally see it. I feel it in your content. I feel the confidence coming across the screen. And so I'm really excited for this. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to mute myself. Kristen, you are welcome to take it over.
Okay. Hi. So I am winging it tonight. I did not put any notes down because I knew if I tried to write notes that I probably would not follow them. And this is more like my journey. Like, I don't even know. We're just going to start. I'm not going to explain it. So as y'all know, I've been here 9 months, almost 10. I titled it, "You're Listening, but Do You Hear Me?" I think is what I titled that. And it took a little bit to come up with that title. I actually talked with Kelly because Jennifer the other day had brought up an opportunity, and I listened to her and I was like, oh, that clicked. Like, I'm finally in my driver's seat. But then I realized that's not what I'm talking about tonight. And Kelly kind of had made me see that. But where this is coming from is when I say you're listening, but do you hear me? And please do not take any offense to this, Amber. Okay. I titled that because as you'll see, I'm always on the Zooms every Monday night. I'm always listening, but I've learned I'm listening. I do take notes sometimes, but trying to listen and take notes doesn't always work for me because then I really am not hearing anything. I'm literally just writing down what she says and it's in my brain and out the other ear, and I'm just not grasping it. And I have finally figured it out. That was what my issue was. I was like taking it all in at the moment, but I wasn't actually hearing what she was saying until I read this book. Amber gets a lot of her stuff from this book, and this book has been an eye-opener. And I want everyone to raise your hand if you have read this book. Well, I guess it's only Karen and Jennifer I can see, but if you've read this book, raise your hand. I'm just curious to kind of see if what I say you're going to know. If not, then it's kind of, I wouldn't say new, but I literally 1,000% recommend everyone to read this book. When my team starts growing, the first thing I want to do is literally tell them if I'm not buying this book and sending it to them, because there is a website that I can post in the chat where this book was $5. Like, I'm not one to buy a hard copy because I mean, it's a book. I don't care. I'd rather know what's in it than spend money on how pretty it is, if that makes sense. So this was literally $5. Best book I have ever read. Like, no joke. When I read it, I was like, oh my God, this is what Amber has been saying. And I know other leaders preach. Sometimes you have to hear it from somebody else. But for me, I literally had to read it. I had to see it for my own eyes. And it's like things have started to click. I feel like I'm hitting my breakthrough because, and you'll hear me preach some of the stuff Amber has said, the compound effect. I was like, oh my God, this is what Amber has been talking about. So if y'all have never read this book, this is where she gets all of her good stuff from. Like, no joke. I'm going to put it down and not keep putting it up. Like, once I read that, I was like, literally, okay, Kristen is climbing into her front seat and taking the reins, because I came from another MLM company who had nothing to do with what we do. I literally went live and I sold jewelry. Like, there was no trainings on how to become a better person, how to talk to the people. It was just like how to get your jewelry and how to work the back office. And that is it. And nothing against that company. I just, as you see, speaking of, I lost my wedding, not ring, but I just wear like silicone bands. Since I've lost weight, they fell off. So I don't wear any jewelry other than a nose ring and a silicone wedding ring. That's it. Like, I'm not a jewelry person. I tried to be. Anywho, moving on. So once I started reading this book, I was like, oh my God, literally, it's the simple things that are going to get you where you're going. For me, I know this is going to sound bad. I kept waiting for the sky to open up and my customers and my promoters to just fall out of the sky with me doing nothing. I was like, why aren't they happening? Like, am I trying? No, I have not put much effort into it, because in the other industry, it was just not, there was no consistency other than going live. Like, if you weren't literally putting your jewelry to the screen, nobody was buying it. And it's the same here, but you're making a post, you're doing your IPAs. There was no IPAs there. So those have been a big thing for me. And I'm still working on them. If you hear my kid yell, he's at the door knocking right now. Go away. And so it's been a big hurdle, but reading this book, it's literally like eye-opening. Like, the simple things, doing the work is gonna get you there. Showing up every day, posting reels, your IPAs in whatever that form may be. And I've learned, like, I watched the videos and the trainings of the IPAs, but since I have never personally obviously seen them done, like someone working on screen showing me what they're doing, it hasn't been clicking. And not that there's that video out there, but it's like, okay, Kristen, you have to literally just sit down and focus on one thing, because hearing Lindsay talk about that long list was just like, okay, I got it. And then I never do them because it just wasn't part of my life, my routine, something I'm used to. So I've had to learn to, okay, let's start with one and go into the other, even if it's one day just doing something. And I mean, I'm a social butterfly outside of the world, or outside of social media. But for me to become a social butterfly on social media has been hard. I can be in person and I can just yak your ear off. But on social media, it's not even that I freeze up. It's like, I'm not seeing you. So it's hard for me to have that conversation about anything. And it's been a big struggle. And so once I started reading this and really seeing like how easy success can be if you just do the simple tasks. Like, I know writing a post can be hard. I know making a reel can be hard. I get that. But between Kristen Boss and some of her tips and then this book, like, I have learned to stop making it so stressful. Like, it's really easy to do. It's just we just make it so much more difficult than we need to. And learning to just duplicate what we're told from Lindsay and Em and Katie, because to be honest, I don't fangirl over any of them. I think they're just normal people, but I also came from another MLM where I didn't fangirl over, because the top people I had no interest in. I felt like I didn't have a connection. And it's not that I don't have a connection with them, but they're way up there. If anyone, I'm like, I fangirl over Amber and her posts. Like, I can read her posts and I'm just like, oh my God, she's speaking to me and I'm on her team. That's what drew me in with Amber. Like, her post, sorry, I just kicked my table. Her post would just like literally seep into my soul. And I was like, Andrew, she is speaking to me in a way that, like, it's not just like, hey, buy my products. It's like, no, hey, I'm a human and this is what I'm doing to better myself. I'm not a robot. I'm not just like people in the other company. One person would make a post and everyone would copy that. And we had a team of 300 and it was just like a mass copy. Not even that they were copying. It'd be like one girl just say something and then no one wanted to come up with their own. And no one would, bring out their personality. And then they're like, I don't understand why I'm succeeding. I'm like, because no one wants to see a mass copied post, because we're all friends with the same people. We just don't all have the same jewelry. So it was nice to see Amber being Amber and being herself. And so back to this book, it was like, finally sitting in like, okay, Kristen, you have to do your post. You have to do your reel. Have I been perfect? No, I've really been trying. But to be honest, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And you would think doing this business as a stay-at-home mom is easy. Ugh. It's like I got 500 jobs and then I have this and I'm trying to do all of them and this. And I know once I get myself situated behind me and I can start waking up at 5. And if I have to post my post at 5 a.m. and my reel at 5 a.m., wash my hands and then do small IPAs throughout the day, I know I can get there. Like I believe everyone can do this business, but it's literally like we preach duplication, doing the same thing we're told every single day. And I don't know if anyone watched the training from Saturday, but holy smokes, when Lindsay talked about her 14 days, talking about why you joined, like if you were brand new, I was like, why am I making this so difficult? It's literally so simple. And that's why she does it so well, because she does not overcomplicate it. And I'm the queen of over complicating everything in my life. Like I hear my kids right now and I'm trying to like stay focused and I just hear them screaming. And we're on a whole new routine at home of no bottles. We have put the bottles down and it's gone actually well. But they're used to both of us putting them down and we've been putting them down without rocking them. And it's just, trying to figure out mom life and business life and how to mesh them together has been a struggle. But let me go back to this. This is literally why I decided to do this live. I'm like, okay, I have not heard anyone else preach about all the things in here other than Amber. So I'm going to say this again. Read this book. Like literally when I start having a team, that's the first thing I want is them to do the training. And if you're going to read a book, read this book, because yes, we all need to know habits, but it's like once you read what is in here about literally just doing the simple things and learning, like I told Andrew, I said, if I were to go back to work, we would never retire. I have no retirement. I wouldn't make a ton of money because I didn't go to college. I was a nanny for 10 years and then I worked for my uncle's company being basically a receptionist. Like, sorry, I'm never going to have, paychecks weekly that are 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever our heart's desire. That's just not realistic. I said, our kids are 3 and about to be 2. If we have to work the next 5 to 7 years, just literally pouring into this business to get it to where we want it to be, I would rather do that than work the rest of my life hating a job I'm at, him hating his job, when I can be home with our kids. We don't have to put him in daycare. Taylor already goes to therapy. So then that'd be a day I have to take off. Taylor sees a ton of doctors because of her birth injury. And, it's like unrealistic for me to work and afford daycare. Daycare would be more than my paycheck. So seeing the long vision or the bigger picture and finally being like, Kristen, you're meant to be here. Like I was actually not that nervous to talk. I was like, yes, I finally get to put my voice out there. And it's like, why has it taken me this long? Why? And it literally was this book. It's finally seeing the bigger thing, finally hearing what Amber was saying and not just listening. And that's why I didn't want to write any notes. I wanted everything to just come from the heart. Because not that I'm saying if I wrote notes, it wouldn't come from the heart, but we then get on a squirrel and you go off. And I just wanted to be able to speak to you because I know we're all trying to get our momentum going in our team. And I know we all got it. I know we can all do this, whether you're still I think it's a promoter is what I am. I don't know. We are all kind of starting back over, and it's really figuring out the simple things, doing the post, doing the reel, doing the IPA, even if we're having to encourage each other and almost, I know Amber's not all about having accountability person, but it's not even that. It's just I want to be that hype person being like every week, hey guys, come on, we got this. Like, we can do this. I have started making reels to where I'm not using the recordings that they have. I've just started talking. And whether it's saying, like, you know what, if you want change, you're going to have to change, because sometimes that's what people just need versus hearing that thing talk. Like, some of my reels that have gone, I don't want to say viral, but that have done well are literally me just putting out there encouraging things, like the the stupid putting my legs up on the wall pipe thing. Like, it went big just because I was like, do the damn thing. If you want to do something, do it. Like, not like whatever, like, oh, I got this. Mom's club right here in the 30s can do this. No, it's encouraging other people to do whatever it is they want to do, is what they want to hear. They don't care about your 30s club. Like, I saw that on someone and I was like, cool, swipe. Like, just move on, because it's not encouraging to me. I mean, I got my club right here on the screen. Like, it's been nice to have a community. I know we don't all live together or close by. Believe me, I wish I could be like, let's all meet up and just have a big thing or whatever. Like, I told Amber when I joined, I said, with the other company, I didn't want a team because I didn't want to have people to buy products and have to worry about having inventory. I said, I want to hold a retreat. I want to have a team where I'm like, hey, all of us, let's get together and just either pour into each other, go hiking. When I'm making it successful and I'm living in the mountains, I'm going to have this extra house that y'all are all just going to have to come up and join, and it be a big thing. Like, that's what I see in my future. Like, yes, money is a great thing, but it's like picturing the bigger thing that, hey, if I sit here and post every day, don't even talk about it, Amber. 110 yesterday. 110 was the highest we've hit. And we're only not even mid-July, okay? Texas ain't for the faint of heart. Like, it's been a struggle. I'm ready to move. And that's what's been motivating me more. I'm like, okay, Andrew, one, we live in a rental. I'm thankful for it because it's my grandparents and we're not paying, $2,000 a month to live in another rental or in an apartment. But I'm like, 110. No, like, that's too much. I'm sweating and it's still well, today it cooled off because we had rain that went around my small town, because I live like in a valley basically, and it misses us every time it comes. But anywho, I just want you all to know we've all got this. The compounding effect is going to happen. We are just going to keep pushing, and it's going to get us to that long run. Like, I never really understood that when Amber would say that. I'm like, what is she talking about? Like, what? It didn't register until I read this book, and I was like, oh, damn. Okay, this is what she's talking about. Like, it finally sunk in, and I'm not ashamed to admit, like, maybe I have to ask every time I hear something good, hey, what book did you read that from? Kind of thing. Because as you see, I've started my own little book club. Yes, there's 50 Shades of Grey in there and some Harry Potter, but there's educational, self-development, business, and all that in there. And that was never a thing in the other companies. So now I'm like, I love to read. And it used to be those kind of books, because I know Em reads a lot of fiery books, but I'm like, no, grow my brain. Like, give me the good stuff, not like make me turn red in the face and fan off or something. But that's really all I have to say is read that book, and it'll really hit you once you're like, not saying y'all aren't listening or hearing what Amber's saying. This was just me personally. Like, I was always listening, but it was like, woohoo, yeah, this is good. And then I'd get off and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm gonna go take a bath, or I'm gonna deal with the kids, and it would just be gone. Like, whoop. And I could even rewatch it and it would be the same thing. I could write things down and it would be the same thing. So finally being able to I don't even want to say comprehend, but like letting things finally soak into me and my roots and being like, okay, this is how it's done. It's that simple. That's what I'm getting. It is that simple. It's making a simple post. And I have to go back and watch the OG training from Saturday to write more stuff down. I honestly listened to it in my car while I was driving. But I didn't want to not remember. And so I want to go back and kind of listen to what Lindsay was saying about how it was like her first 14 days, because in the trainings, I mean, she talks about what she does, but then hearing it when she's literally saying every 14 days is a new 14 days, like just to keep that momentum going. And so, or Karen, did you have a question? I thought I saw your hand raised. No, I was like, you could just talk. But anywho, that's all I got. I almost made it 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And thank you for pouring into us tonight, because that, like, we're all going to go through moments of that when you feel like, you're just like on the Zooms over and over and over again, and you hear the same thing from different leaders even sometimes, and it's just, you don't know when it's your moment until you know it's your moment, and you're just like, I'm finally picking up what you're putting down. And sometimes it could be from a book, and I've got a lot of great books, which reminds me, we should put a post in the team page about, like, especially for newbies, like, these are my top recommendations when you're first coming in, of like what books to start with, right? We're gonna put that one in there, and Atomic Habits, and whatever you guys can recommend. But Beach Money, oh my god.
Oh, I
But
read that one too just now.
yeah,
But
Karen's like, no more books,
really
no more
felt
books.
like this was maybe because I'm not a beach person, something, and Mountain Money. That just sounds more hillbilly-ish.
Oh my gosh, no, it's not hillbilly. And we're gonna go, okay, our first team retreat, I can't promise you it's gonna be 2022, but our first team retreat, it's on my vision board for this year. But yeah, I'm going back into the trenches. I'm going to deal with some things first, but maybe it needs to be Tennessee. Maybe it needs to be a Tennessee hike. We'll see.
Speaking of, we've actually looked at moving there. Like, let me just put this out there. So we've always wanted to move to Colorado, but to be honest, the price is ridiculous. So we've been looking at, let me first that. I've been looking at like Tennessee, even Virginia, like all of that area, because if you go to the West Coast, it's just so expensive.
Yeah.
But if I don't make it to any of those, it's going to be Montana. Okay. Montana.
Wherever brings you joy. Wherever brings you joy. That's what I'm all about.
Something cold.
Come to the east side, girl. We got you.
Come to the east side.
I'm like, no one's here in well, I guess here in Louisiana. Louisiana's not far.
You're the furthest west, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe, out of everybody. But
and I won't move back to Louisiana. I lived there for a year.
Which reminds me, I am going to Indiana on the 23rd.
Oh, for the Rochester thing.
Awesome.
I don't know if any, I know Amber's not.
That's too far for me.
But I know she's 9 hours away.
That's a long drive.
5 if nobody's in my way. But if any of you guys are like in my zigzag, I'll pick you up. You're in
These
Texas.
two homegirls are in Louisiana.
They're all in the South.
And then Kelly's like New Jersey.
Yeah, Kelly's way over.
And I don't know. I think Stephanie's in Louisiana too.
Probably.
That was just on here.
But
yeah, I agree.
Karen.
Book thing for sure.
Mm-hmm. You know what I love that you said, that I was just talking to a potential promoter, and she's going to sign up as a customer tonight. She's like, I really think I want to start as a customer. I'm like, okay, fine. If that's where your heart's at, then that's where your heart's at, because I'm not going to push way into it. And she's like, I'm just so burnt. And I've heard this from a lot of you guys. I'm just so burnt from other MLMs. And I'm like, I respect that. But I told her, we've got a couple of girls on here who have come from different MLMs, multiple different MLMs, and how they just share their stories of like what they went through. And it might not be my story that I can share and talk about, since I'm just this is my first MLM that I've ever been a part of, but it makes their story so much more beautiful. And so if you guys ever get to that point where you're just like, you get ashamed of that a little bit, please don't be, because there's so many other people out there who are unhappy with what they're doing because she's currently doing something else. And she's like, I've just been so burnt. And I'm like, I'm here when you're ready, right? I'm here when you're ready. But what my girls say is that the leadership is so different, and the way we teach is different, and the way we build our business is so different. And it's just really, really nice to be able to build a business and say, like, this feels good to me, and that's what keeps a lot of people here. And when you said that the personal growth was never part of that previous experience, like, that's huge. That's huge. So don't be ashamed to talk about like where you came from, what you've experienced before. By no means throw anybody or anything under the bus, but like, it's okay to share, like, hey, I've done other things before and that it didn't feel good to me, and this is what feels good here, because that's so much more powerful than just trying to like spit a comp plan at somebody, right? Or saying, hey, like, let's make money together. Like, no, share your experience and share your heart. So thank you so much for sharing your heart with us tonight. I love you guys. We are definitely on the road. I feel like that Harriet and I putting that team page together is going to be monumental for us this year. Like, I know that is where our growth is. I know that there's a couple of you guys that just felt like you were capped, that felt like you had no space to talk, that felt like you had no space to lead. And I want you to know that I want you to take ownership of this team, right? Just like I said, whenever we're opening up the team page, like, take ownership of that page. If you've got some tips or tricks or inspiration or anything that you want to share in that team page or the customer page, let's own it together. Like, this is our space for growth. And sometimes you need these moments like this. Sometimes you need to get a little uncomfortable and say, hey, I've never talked on a Zoom, or hey, I've never done an opportunity event, or whatever it might be. These are great moments to step into that leadership together. And I love this. I love you guys.
Hold on.
I'm gonna shut up. Kristen, do you have anything else?
Yes, and this is not about me.
What?
Is there, or I struggle with, and this is from Kristen Boss, putting out the offer. Like, I struggle with that. Is there a training on that, or
there can be?
You have tips and tricks on a training? Because I mean, as much as I would love to just drop 200 grand, 2 grand, not 200, 2 grand to be in Kristen's program, that's just not realistic. So I like struggle with the big, putting out the offer, because I don't know if it's just, putting up the call to action.
Do you mean like being bold in your posts, or just
well, you know how she's like, don't be scared to put your offer up. And it's like, to me, that's just putting, VIP in your first 14 days. Is that it? Or is there more to
there's a little bit more to it. There's
I know, not just
into being their mentor. Like, what can you offer specifically? Not just like what this company or what this product can offer, but like, what can Kristen offer, right? Can you offer that maybe you do have that comparison from other companies where you can say, like, I can teach you different. Like, I can teach you a way to build your business that feels really, really good, right? I can teach you, by trial and error, because this is what we're learning all the time, right? Of streamlining your IPAs. Maybe it's focused IPAs, or just figuring it out on your own. You now can step into that leadership position for somebody else and say, I can teach you how to run your business when you're a busy mama, when you've got crazy kids running around the house, when you feel like you're struggling, but you need more in your life. Like, hi, I'll be your example because I've walked through the trenches for almost a year now, right? That's like your offer. Is like, what can you bring to the table specifically? And I will just put this out there, but in June is when I joined the Social Selling Academy. And it was very scary to put that money down. But in anything that I learn in that, I promise you will be learning from it. But I will tell you, there's a lot of like emotional unpacking that I'm still realizing that I have to do. And I've got to learn and go through that first before I'll ever be able to teach somebody else how to do it. And so it will come. I will put up a training at some point. We'll talk about making the offer or something like
Because
that.
I know she talks about that all the time, and I'm like,
She
can
does.
you like give me an example other than hearing? I mean, I know she'll be like, okay, join the social selling academy, but hers is just like almost like a one-liner. And I'm like, but I don't feel like that's my offer. I couldn't put it in a one-liner because
Yeah.
there's so much more, you know? Or
Yeah.
maybe I'm just overthinking it still, and it is a one-liner every now and then.
I feel like it's just bits and pieces, right?
Uh-huh.
Depending on what you're talking about. Like you might be talking about like so let's use self-belief, for example. Like there's plenty of people out there who are probably watching you who don't believe in themselves. They don't know if they could do what you could do, but like, could you hold space for them, right? Could you say, hey, you can borrow my belief and I will help teach you how to believe in yourself. I will help teach you how to be more confident. I will help teach you how to be consistent in a business so that you can start bringing in more for your family. And sometimes you're talking about money, and sometimes you're talking about free products, and sometimes you're talking about personal growth and all of these great aspects of the business. But those are all your offers. Those are
And
all
I think we all have a note app somewhere on our phone. Me, I have that, and I always have Post-its in my pocket. I can't always throw up a post, right? Sometimes you're at church and just like a zinger will come to you like, oh, that would make like a great, I would love to share that. So you write it down. That becomes a post later. Maybe it's with you having a selfie of your DFT and just like, saying, yeah, that place I was working, they offered nothing. I got no training. I got zero, but like word it your way to make it like a 2-liner post, a 3-liner post, and then leave it at that. And they're just like, and you just kind of end it with, but here I feel good about what I do, or here there's so much more, just like finally a company that's always giving instead of always taking pieces of me, just something simple and short. But it's like I've got a crap ton of them in my phone, and I've used most of them, but just utilize your notepad on your phone, because when you're, text to, or speech to text or whatever it is, if you're driving or something like that, don't text while you're, or type it while you're driving, but make sure you get that thought down, that feeling, that message on your heart in that moment down. You can use that later, whether it's about Thrive or it's about your life and what you're going through. That's going to reach somebody.
right. And understanding that like we do have a lot to offer people. And I feel like we all struggle with that, especially in the beginning of our business, with like, what's our purpose? And we think that like our niche is our purpose. And we put all of this pressure on our business. And I've done it even, where you make your business, you put so much pressure on your business to like be the end all be all, to be like the fix it, to be the thing that fixes your finances, the thing that fixes your mood and fixes your happiness and fixes all the problems in your life. But like when you put all of that pressure on your business, you start showing up in a very like scarcity, like lack mindset, and it shows, versus like sit down with yourself and think to yourself, like, who were you before you started this business? And what did you have to offer people versus now learning and growing? And yeah, you can help people with their health. Yeah, you can help people bring in more money, but you can help them with personal growth. You can help them with the confidence. You can help them with believing in themselves. You can help them with so much more, with like creating, I say this all the time, but like creating more joy in your life, right? And learning like you're worth more and it's okay to do different, right? We say that all the time. It's okay to do different to get different results. But a lot of times we get caught in our head with like, well, I don't know what I have to offer. I don't know like what I would be able to offer a new person that's any different from anybody else, but you are. You're so beautifully different from a lot of our other leaders, right? Because you have that unique experience. Harriet has that experience too, right? Jennifer, I believe, has that experience too. I don't have that. Karen doesn't have, Karen does have that. You guys have all of that. You guys have experience with different companies before. I don't. I would never be able to speak on that. Right? So you got to step into it, step into that belief that you've got something very powerful within you to offer somebody else that you can teach them. I love you guys. But yeah, we're on the right path. We're on the right path. Okay. And I like that you said you're here on purpose, because every single one of us is here on purpose. Not a shadow of doubt in my mind. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you, Kristen, for leading us. Go enjoy the rest of your night.